Commander Taiwan Park had never expected to make history when he arrived on Solforia. As Earth's junior diplomatic officer, his job was simple: observe, learn, and stay quiet during important ceremonies. Now, standing beneath the massive crystal dome of the Grand Temple, he felt distinctly unprepared for what was happening. The ceremonial chamber buzzed with activity. Alien dignitaries from 7 systems filled the curved stone benches. Fragrant blue smoke coiled from metal braziers, carrying the scent of something like cinnamon and sea salt. Solforian monks in flowing silver robes circled the central altar, their 4-armed movements creating a hypnotic dance. Taiwan stood with the Earth delegation, 5 humans in matching blue uniforms that suddenly felt too tight around his neck. Ambassador Yunhai, his direct superior, had briefed them all on proper protocol. Stand straight, bow at specific musical cues, and above all, make no sudden movements. Remember, she had said that morning, the Solforians consider this annual blessing vital to their diplomatic calendar. We observe only. No one had mentioned the possibility of being selected. The music shifted as High Priestess Jimin entered. At nearly 8 feet tall, she towered over even the tallest humans. Her blue skin seemed to pulse with its own inner light, iridescent scales catching the twin moonlight streaming through the crystal dome above. Unlike the other Xalforians with their 4 arms, she possessed 6, each decorated with intricate silver markings that spiraled up to her shoulders. Her headdress rose another 2 feet above her, adorned with crystals that chimed softly with each step. The crowd fell silent as she approached the central altar. We gather beneath the alignment of moons. Jae-min's voice filled the chamber without seeming to raise it. Her translator medallion, a technological marvel that rendered her complex tonal language into standard Earth English, hung at her throat. As we have done since the First Awakening. Taiwan noticed something odd. While Jae-min performed the ritual greetings, her upper left eyes, Solforians had 4, kept glancing toward the human delegation, specifically toward him. Ambassador Yunhai noticed too. Stand perfectly still, she whispered from the corner of her mouth. The ceremonial dance continued for several minutes. Taiwan tried to focus on the beauty of it rather than his growing discomfort. Then, without warning, the music stopped mid-note. Jae-min had raised all 6 of her arms, and the monks froze in position. The High Priestess turned fully toward the human delegation. The crowd murmured in surprise. The celestial alignment speaks, Jae-min announced, her translator medallion giving her words a slight metallic edge. After 3 cycles of silence, the moons have chosen. She stepped down from the altar platform and moved directly toward the human delegation. Ambassador Yunhai stiffened beside Taiwan. This was not in the briefing. Jae-min stopped directly before Taiwan. Up close, he could see the complex patterns in her scales and the depth of her 4 eyes. The larger pair golden, the smaller pair silver. "You," she said, pointing one long, 4-fingered hand at his chest. "Human diplomat, your life pattern resonates with the sacred frequencies. You have been chosen for the sacred union." The crowd gasped. The other human diplomats took a collective step backward, leaving Taiwan standing alone. He felt as if the floor had vanished beneath him. What?" he managed, instantly regretting breaking protocol by speaking. Jae-min seemed untroubled by his response. "The sacred union occurs when the moons align perfectly, once every 3 decades. You are honored beyond all outsiders who have visited our world." Ambassador Yunhai quickly stepped forward, bowing deeply to Jae-min before whispering urgently to Taiwan. "This is their reproductive ceremony. It happens only once every 30 years. It's the highest honor in their culture." Taiwan felt blood drain from his face. "Reproductive," he whispered back. "Not like you're thinking," Yunhai said quickly. "But refusing would cause an interstellar incident that could set human-Solforian relations back decades." Taiwan looked back at Jae-min, who waited with the patience of a being who had performed this ceremony countless times. Her hand remained extended toward him. "What exactly does this involve?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Ji-Min's upper eyes blinked in sequence, a Sulfurian expression of respect. You will be taught our ways. You will learn the sacred rituals. And when the moons reach perfect alignment in 7 days, you will join me in creating the future. Creating the future. The diplomatic euphemism hung in the air between them. Ambassador Yunhai nudged him forward. Accept the honor, Commander. I'll contact Earth Command immediately. Taiwan felt every eye in the room upon him. Human, Sulfurian, and various other alien species he couldn't name. His training had covered first contact protocols, trade negotiations, and even hostage situations. Nothing had prepared him for becoming part of an alien reproductive ceremony. Ji-Min extended her hand further. Her scales shifted color slightly, taking on a warmer purple hue that Taiwan suspected conveyed emotion. The stars have chosen you, Taiwan Park of Earth, she said, using his name for the first time. Will you answer? With each passing second of hesitation, the tension in the room grew. Taiwan thought of his diplomatic career, of Earth's fragile alliance with the Sulfurian Empire, of the scientific and cultural exchange programs that had taken decades to establish. Taking a deep breath, Taiwan stepped forward and placed his 5-fingered hand into Ji-Min's 4-fingered one. Her skin felt surprisingly warm, like sun-heated stone. I am honored by your selection, High Priestess, he said, the words coming from some diplomatic reserve he didn't know he possessed. I accept. A sound like rushing wind filled the chamber as every Sulfurian present released their held breath. The monks resumed their ceremonial dance. The music swelled once more. As Ji-Min led him toward the altar, Taiwan caught Ambassador Yunhai's expression, a mixture of pride, worry, and something that looked suspiciously like envy. Whatever happened next, Taiwan realized, would definitely not be in any diplomatic handbook. The Temple of Celestial Knowledge stood at the highest point of the Sulfurian capital. Unlike the gleaming metal buildings that dominated the city skyline, the temple was carved from a single massive crystal that caught the light of the twin moons and scattered it in rainbow patterns across its interior walls. Taiwan followed High Priestess Ji-Min down a spiral staircase that descended deep beneath the temple. After accepting his role in the Sacred Union ceremony the previous day, he had been separated from the Earth delegation and given private quarters in the temple's visitor wing. Ambassador Yunhai had sent a brief message. Earth Command notified. Await further instructions. Learn everything you can. That was exactly what he intended to do. These archives contain the complete history of our people, Ji-Min explained as they reached the bottom of the staircase. Her translator medallion converted her musical language flawlessly. Few outsiders have ever been permitted to enter. The chamber before them stretched farther than Taiwan could see. Crystal shelves held ancient scrolls, strange devices, and glowing containers of liquid. Sulfurian acolytes moved silently through the stacks, their 4 arms allowing them to carry multiple items at once. This way, Ji-Min directed, leading him to a circular platform in the center of the room. I will show you why you were chosen. She placed her hand on a crystalline panel. The platform hummed to life, and a holographic display appeared in the air above them. Taiwan recognized it immediately as a DNA strand, though the structure was unlike any human genetic material he had seen. This is Sulfurian DNA from 1,000 years ago, Ji-Min said. The display shifted, showing another strand with visible gaps and irregularities. And this is our DNA now. Taiwan studied the images carefully. Even with his limited scientific background, he could see the degradation. What happened? The genetic pattern of your species intrigues us, Ji-Min explained, manipulating the display to show more detailed analyses. Our people face extinction. Our reproductive capabilities have declined for generations. Another image appeared, human DNA next to the damaged Sulfurian strand. Certain sections were highlighted, showing structural similarities. You believe human genetics could stabilize your species? Taiwan asked, beginning to understand the true purpose behind the ceremony. Ji-Min's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. What Ta-One had learned was a sign of affirmation. Science and spirituality have merged in our understanding, she said, her normally stern face softening. The stars guided us to you, but our scientists confirmed the compatibility. Ta-One's mind raced with implications. Does Earth Command know about this research? We have shared some findings with your scientists, but not the complete picture. Ji-Min moved to another section of the display. Many of your people still see us only as strange aliens. They would not understand our need. The hologram shifted to show population statistics. The downward trend was unmistakable. How many Xalforians remain? Ta-One asked. Fewer than 1 million, Ji-Min replied quietly. We once numbered billions. Last year, only 17 children were born across our entire civilization. Only 12 survived. Ta-One felt the weight of her words. The Xalforian Empire controlled 12 star systems and was one of humanity's most powerful allies in the galactic community. Earth Command had no idea they were on the brink of extinction. The sacred union is not merely symbolic, then, he said. No. Ji-Min shut down the holographic display. But neither is it what you might fear. Come, there is more you must learn before the ceremony. They spent hours in the archives, Ji-Min showing him historical records of Xalforian culture. He learned about their 3-gender reproductive system, their 5,000-year history of space travel, and the mysterious genetic degradation that had begun 3 centuries ago. Our scientists believe it began when we first encountered radiation from a dying star in the Meridian system, Ji-Min explained. The damage was subtle but compounded with each generation. By late afternoon, Ta-One's head swam with information. Ji-Min led him to a small garden within the temple grounds where they could sit and drink a warm beverage that tasted like honey and mint. Tonight you will begin learning the ceremonial movements, she told him. The physical aspects of the sacred union are largely symbolic, but the mental connection must be genuine. Mental connection? Ta-One asked. Ji-Min touched her temple with one long finger. Xalforians are mildly telepathic with compatible species. The ceremony enhances this ability temporarily. It allows for genetic information to be exchanged without physical reproduction. Ta-One nearly choked on his drink. You can read my mind. Not without permission and not without contact, she assured him. And only surface thoughts, feelings, intentions. That evening, 3 Xalforian acolytes arrived at his quarters. They wore simpler versions of Ji-Min's ceremonial robes and carried various instruments and small containers of glowing liquid. We will teach you the dance of genetic harmony, the eldest explained, her scales a paler blue than Ji-Min's. The movements must be precise. For hours, they guided Ta-One through a series of complicated steps and hand positions. The dance was physically demanding, requiring balance and coordination beyond what he thought possible. Each time he failed, they patiently corrected him and explained the significance of each movement. This gesture represents the opening of genetic barriers, one acolyte demonstrated. This step symbolizes the flow of life force between species. Near midnight, exhausted and sore, Ta-One finally mastered the basic sequence. The acolytes seemed pleased, painting small symbols on his forearms with the glowing liquid. You learn quickly for a human, the eldest said, sounding impressed. Most species cannot complete even half the sequence on the first day. As they prepared to leave, Ta-One asked the question that had been troubling him. How many other species have participated in this ceremony? The acolytes exchanged glances. 7 species have been chosen in our recorded history, the eldest finally answered. The most recent was 3 cycles ago, 90 of your Earth years. And did it work? Did it help with the genetic degradation? Their silence told him everything. As the door closed behind them, Ta-One sat heavily on his sleeping platform. He understood now the desperation beneath their ritualistic facade. The Xalforians weren't just honoring an ancient tradition. They were fighting for their very survival. And somehow, They believed he held the key. Taiwan awoke to the soft chime of the communication panel beside his sleeping platform. The Xalforian quarters assigned to him were comfortable but alien. The bed curved like a shallow bowl, and the lighting pulsed gently in rhythm with what he assumed was meant to match human breathing patterns. He pressed his palm against the panel, expecting another message from Ambassador Yunai. Instead, the air above the panel shimmered and formed into the stern face of General Sung-ho, head of Earth Command's Diplomatic Security Division. Commander Park, the general's hologram flickered slightly, showing the limitations of transmitting across 12 light years. I trust you are alone. Taiwan quickly sat up straighter. Yes, sir. The quarters appear to be secure. They are not, General Sung-ho said flatly. Our technicians detect at least 3 different monitoring systems in your room. Standard Sulfurian practice for all guests. Speak accordingly. Taiwan felt a chill run through him. He'd been speaking freely with the ambassador's messages, assuming diplomatic privacy protocols were being observed. I understand, sir. The general's hologram stabilized. We've reviewed your situation. Earth Command has made its decision regarding the so-called Sacred Union ceremony. Taiwan waited, trying to appear calm despite his racing heart. Absolutely not. General Sung-ho's hologram flickered again. Earth Command forbids your participation. The political implications are too significant. Sir, Taiwan wasn't sure he had heard correctly. This goes beyond a simple cultural exchange, Commander. Our xenobiologists have reviewed what little data the Xalforians have shared. If successful, any outcome of this ceremony would create a precedent for genetic exchange programs that Earth is not prepared to endorse. Taiwan leaned forward. The Xalforians will view this as a betrayal, he argued. I've spent 3 days learning their customs, their history. They're facing extinction. Sir, that is unfortunate, but not our immediate concern. The general's face hardened. More pressing is the security situation. Intelligence reports indicate a splinter group called the Purists plans to disrupt the ceremony anyway. They oppose any genetic mixing. The Purists. Taiwan had not heard this term before. Xalforian traditionalists who believe their species should either recover naturally or accept extinction with dignity. They consider genetic blending with other species an abomination. The general paused. They've been known to use violence to stop what they can't prevent through politics. Taiwan ran a hand through his hair, mind racing through diplomatic protocols. Sir, refusing now would damage our relationship with one of our strongest galactic allies. Better damage relations than an interspecies incident that spirals out of control. The general's image leaned closer. Your new orders are to inform the High Priestess that you must withdraw from the ceremony due to unforeseen health concerns. Our medical team will provide convincing documentation. Health concerns. Taiwan repeated. They'll see through that immediately. The Xalforians have been scanning me daily. Then be creative, Commander. The general's patience was clearly wearing thin. But you will withdraw. That is a direct order from Earth Command. We're sending a diplomatic transport to extract you before the ceremony. It will arrive tomorrow. The transmission ended before Taiwan could respond further. He sat in silence, staring at the empty air where the general's face had been. After 3 days immersed in Sulfurian culture, learning their history and the desperate nature of their genetic crisis, the idea of simply walking away felt wrong. But disobeying a direct order from Earth Command was not an option for a career diplomat. Taiwan dressed in the ceremonial robes provided for him, lightweight silver fabric embroidered with symbols representing genetic harmony, and stepped out onto the small balcony adjoining his quarters. From this height, he could see much of the Sulfurian capital city. Unlike human cities with their straight lines and right angles, Sulfurian architecture favored spirals and curves, buildings flowing into one another like frozen waves. The twin moons hung low in the sky, nearly aligned now. According to Jaemin, perfect alignment would occur in just 4 more days. The timing of Earth Command's extraction ship was no coincidence. Your leaders wish you to withdraw, a familiar voice stated from behind him. It wasn't a question. Tai-1 turned to find High Priestess Ji-min standing in the doorway to his quarters. Her blue scales caught the moonlight, making her seem to glow from within. "How did you know?" he asked, surprised by her appearance and her accurate assessment. Ji-min stepped onto the balcony, her tall form casting a long shadow. "Because power always fears what it cannot control," she replied, gazing up at the stars. Tai-1 sighed. "You were monitoring my communications, as your people monitor mine." She didn't seem offended by the accusation. "It is the way of diplomacy, is it not? Trust wrapped in layers of verification." "I'm sorry," Tai-1 said, genuinely meaning it. "Earth Command believes." Ji-min raised one four-fingered hand to stop him. "I understand their concerns better than you might think. My own Council of Elders was divided on whether to proceed with the ceremony. Some believe, as your Earth Command does, that we should not risk complications." They stood in silence for a moment, looking out over the city. "There is something your general did not tell you," Ji-min finally said. "The leader of the Purists is my own clutch sister, K-min. We emerged from the same egg cluster 5 decades ago, but our paths diverged early." Tai-1 stared at her, processing this revelation. "Your sister leads the group that wants to stop the ceremony." Ji-min's upper eyes closed briefly, a sign of sadness. "K-min believes our extinction would be more honorable than adaptation through outside influence. She leads nearly 30% of our remaining population." "And what do you believe?" Tai-1 asked. "I believe survival requires flexibility." Ji-min turned to face him directly. "Life finds ways to continue, Commander Park. Throughout the galaxy, species adapt or they vanish. My sister would have us vanish with pride intact. I would have us adapt, even if our children's children look somewhat different than we do now." The weight of the situation pressed down on Tai-1. On one side, a direct order from Earth Command. On the other, the potential salvation of an entire species, and possibly his own career and Earth's standing in the galactic community if he refused. "A transport ship arrives tomorrow to take me back to Earth," he said quietly. Ji-min's scales shifted slightly, darkening with emotion. "And will you be on it, Commander Park?" Before he could answer, a loud explosion rocked the temple grounds. Both of them rushed to the balcony's edge. Smoke rose from the temple's eastern wing. "The archives," Ji-min whispered, her normally composed voice trembling. 4 Xalthorian guards appeared at Tai-1's door. "High Priestess, we must secure you immediately," the lead guard announced. "The Purists have breached the outer sanctuary." Ji-min turned to Tai-1, all 4 of her eyes focused intensely on his face. "It seems you have been given an unexpected opportunity, Commander. Your Earth Command wished for a reason to extract you from the ceremony without diplomatic implications." She gestured toward the smoke rising from the temple. "Now you have one." With that, she swept from the room with her guards, leaving Tai-1 alone with his thoughts and the sight of flames beginning to lick at the ancient temple archives that contained the last hope of the Xalthorian people. The diplomatic crisis had become far more complicated than even Earth Command could have anticipated. The day of the Sacred Union ceremony arrived with both moons of Xalthoria perfectly aligned in the morning sky. Their combined light bathed the temple in a silvery blue glow that made the crystal walls shimmer like flowing water. Tai-1 stood in his preparation chamber, surrounded by Xalthorian acolytes who were painting ritual symbols on his skin with cool, glowing liquid. The patterns they created matched those on his ceremonial robes, intricate spirals representing genetic sequences. "The marks will fade after 3 days," explained the eldest acolyte, carefully drawing a final symbol on his forehead. "But their meaning will endure." Tai-1 nodded silently. In the 5 days since the Purist attack on the temple archives, much had changed. The explosion had damaged valuable genetic records, but had also created an unusual diplomatic opportunity. Instead of boarding the Earth Command transport ship that arrived the following day, Tai-1 had sent a carefully worded message to General Sung-ho. "The security situation requires my continued presence," he had written. "I believe I have found a solution that will satisfy both Earth Command's concerns and the Solforian need." The general had been furious but could hardly extract Taiwan by force without causing a major diplomatic incident, especially after Ambassador Yunhai supported Taiwan's decision to stay. A soft chime indicated it was time. The acolytes stepped back, examining their work with critical eyes before nodding in approval. "You have learned our ways quickly," the eldest said. "May the alignment bring harmony." Taiwan took a deep breath and stepped through the doorway into the main ceremonial chamber. Unlike the first ceremony where he had been selected, this time the massive room was filled to capacity. Dignitaries from across the galaxy occupied the tiered seating, not just the original 7 species, but representatives from at least 20 different worlds. Word of the unusual ceremony had spread quickly. The Earth delegation sat in a place of honor near the front, Ambassador Yunhai looking both proud and nervous. Beside her sat Dr. Hanjun, Earth's leading xenogeneticist, who had arrived on the same transport ship that was meant to take Taiwan away. The doctor clutched a secure case containing equipment that had been rushed from Earth's most advanced research facilities. A hush fell over the gathering as Taiwan walked the long path toward the central altar. Ancient Solforian music played from unseen sources, the haunting tones rising and falling like waves. At the altar stood High Priestess Jimin, her ceremonial robes more elaborate than before, with crystals that caught the light and scattered it across the chamber. The traditional ceremony called for Taiwan to circle the altar 3 times before joining Jimin at its center. Instead, he stopped halfway. A murmur of surprise rippled through the audience. "High Priestess Jimin," Taiwan said, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber. "I propose an alternative that honors your traditions while respecting mine." He paused, gathering his courage. "A collaboration between our medical sciences, sharing knowledge, not just genetics." The murmurs grew louder. Jimin's 4 eyes narrowed, the upper pair blinking rapidly, a sign of intense focus among Solforians. "Explain," she said simply, her translator medallion carrying the word to every corner of the chamber. "The Sacred Union seeks to preserve Solforian life through genetic exchange," Taiwan continued. "But a single ceremony between 2 individuals can only accomplish so much. I propose instead a formal, ongoing exchange of medical and genetic knowledge between our peoples." He gestured toward Dr. Hanjun, who rose from his seat. "Earth's finest geneticists stand ready to work alongside yours. Together, we can develop treatments to repair the damage to your species' genetic code, not just temporarily, but permanently." The chamber erupted in a mixture of approving trills and angry clicks. The Solforian council members leaned toward each other, engaged in intense discussion. Jimin remained still, her expression unreadable. Before she could respond, the massive doors at the rear of the chamber burst open with a thunderous crash. 3 Solforians rushed in, pushing past the guards. Unlike the ceremonial attire worn by most present, they wore simple gray robes with red markings. Each carried a ceremonial dagger, curved blades that gleamed in the moonlight streaming through the crystal dome. "Blasphemers!" their leader shouted, her voice needing no translation to convey her fury. Taiwan recognized her immediately from Jimin's descriptions. K-Min, the High Priestess's clutched sister. The family resemblance was striking, though K-Min's scales were a darker blue, almost indigo. "You would pollute our genetic legacy with alien influence," K-Min continued, advancing rapidly toward the altar. Her 2 companions spread out, their movements coordinated and practiced. Better extinction than contamination. The chamber erupted in panic. Many dignitaries rushed for the exits, while others froze in shock. The Solforian guards moved to intercept the intruders, but K-Min and her followers were already too close to the altar. Without hesitation, Jimin grabbed her ceremonial staff from its place on the altar. With grace belying her size, she leaped between Taiwan and the approaching attackers. Her staff, A 6-foot crystal rod topped with a complex geometric shape moved in a blur, blocking the first attacker's dagger thrust. "You dishonor our ancestors, sister," Jae-min said, her voice calm despite the attack. Taiwan had no weapon, but years of mandatory diplomatic defense training kicked in. He grabbed a heavy ceremonial bowl from the altar and stepped to Jae-min's side rather than behind her. As the second attacker lunged toward him, Taiwan used the bowl as a shield, deflecting the blade with a metallic clang that echoed through the chamber. The impact sent painful vibrations up his arm, but he maintained his grip. Using the attacker's momentum against them, Taiwan pushed forward with the bowl, knocking the Sulfurian off balance. Ka-min circled around, trying to reach the altar itself. "The sacred relics must not be used for this corruption," she shouted. Jae-min blocked her path, staff and dagger meeting in a shower of sparks. "Our people are dying, Ka-min," Jae-min said, her voice carrying despite the chaos. "Would you doom us to extinction for your pride? Better to die pure than live corrupted," Ka-min hissed. The third attacker circled behind Taiwan. Ambassador Yunai shouted a warning, but too late. Taiwan felt a burning pain across his back as the dagger sliced through his ceremonial robes. The glowing liquid that had been painted on his skin splashed to the floor, the genetic symbols disrupted. Earth security personnel rushed forward, but they were too far away to reach him in time for a second attack. Taiwan spun, raising the ceremonial bowl again, but his wounded back slowed his movement. Before the attacker could strike again, Dr. Hanjun threw his secure case with surprising accuracy. It struck the attacker's arm, causing the dagger to clatter to the floor. Guards finally reached them, surrounding the attackers with weapons drawn. Ka-min, seeing her plan foiled, locked eyes with her sister. "This isn't over," she promised. Jae-min lowered her staff slightly. "No, sister, but perhaps it can begin anew." She turned to Taiwan, concern evident in all four of her eyes. "You are injured." Taiwan straightened despite the pain. Blood soaked the back of his robes, but the wound was superficial. "I'll survive," he said. Then, loud enough for all to hear, he added, "just as the Sulfurian people will survive, not through my genetic material alone, but through the combined knowledge of our civilizations." The chamber, which had been in chaos moments before, fell silent once more. All eyes turned to the central altar, where the sacred union ceremony had been interrupted, but perhaps transformed into something even more meaningful. The twin moons of Sulfuria cast a gentle blue light through the crystal walls of the great temple's nursery wing. 6 months had passed since the interrupted sacred union ceremony. 6 months of intense diplomatic negotiations, scientific breakthroughs, and cultural exchange. Taiwan Park stood beside High Priestess Jae-min, watching 3 infant Sulfurians sleep peacefully in their crystalline cradles. The babies were smaller than human infants, with delicate blue scales that shimmered as they breathed. Each had the beginning formation of 4 eyes. The larger pair still closed, the smaller pair occasionally fluttering open to reveal golden irises. "The first healthy births in a generation," Jae-min said softly, her translator medallion barely above a whisper to avoid waking the infants. "No genetic abnormalities detected." Taiwan leaned closer to observe one of the babies stretching its 4 tiny arms. "They're beautiful," he said honestly. After half a year on Sulfuria, he had developed a genuine appreciation for their alien aesthetics. "The genetic therapy developed by our joint science team has succeeded beyond expectations," Jae-min continued, her normally formal demeanor replaced with something close to joy. "Dr. Hanjun believes we can extend the treatment to all remaining fertile Sulfurians within 2 years." Dr. Hanjun had remained on Sulfuria after the ceremony, establishing a permanent Earth-Sulfurian medical exchange program. What had begun as a diplomatic crisis had transformed into the most successful interspecies scientific collaboration in recorded galactic history. "Your sister Ka-min has seen them?" Taiwan asked. Jae-min's upper eyes blinked in affirmation. "Yesterday. She remains, cautious in her optimism. But seeing healthy infants for the first time in her adult life has softened her position. After the attack during the ceremony, K-Min and her followers had been detained but not punished severely. Ji-Min had insisted on reconciliation rather than retribution, recognizing that the Sulfurian population was too small to remain divided. The purists had gradually accepted the modified genetic therapy when it became clear that it stabilized Sulfurian DNA without introducing obvious human characteristics. Earth Command seems pleased as well, Ta-Wan noted. General Sun-Ho, initially furious at Ta-Wan's disobedience, had eventually recognized the diplomatic coup the arrangement represented. Instead of being court-martialed, Ta-Wan had received a promotion to senior diplomatic liaison. A soft chime echoed through the nursery, signaling the approaching evening ceremony. One of the infants stirred at the sound, its scales rippling with color before settling back to sleep. "We should go," Ji-Min said. "The naming ceremony cannot begin without us." They walked together through the curved corridors of the great temple, now familiar to Ta-Wan after months of residence. Sulfurians they passed bowed respectfully to both of them, an honor Ta-Wan was still adjusting to. On Earth, he had been a mid-level diplomat. Here, he was viewed as something between a hero and a sacred figure. The main ceremonial chamber had been restored since the attack, its crystal dome polished to perfect clarity. Unlike the Sacred Union ceremony, today's gathering was smaller, consisting mainly of high-ranking Sulfurians and a few representatives from Earth. Ambassador Yunhai nodded to Ta-Wan as he entered. Next to her sat Dr. Hanjun and 3 other human scientists who had joined the exchange program. They wore modified Sulfurian formal attire, a diplomatic gesture that had become standard practice for the Earth delegation. Ji-Min took her place at the central altar, which now bore symbols of both Sulfurian and human design, a physical representation of their collaboration. Ta-Wan stood to one side as tradition dictated for the naming ceremony. "We gather beneath the twin moons," Ji-Min began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber without technological amplification, a skill Ta-Wan had come to admire. "To honor those who have ensured our future." The traditional music began, but with subtle variations that incorporated harmonies more pleasing to human ears, another small symbol of the evolving relationship between their species. "For 10,000 cycles, our people have named those who contribute to our continuation as clan family," Ji-Min continued. "Today, we extend this honor beyond our world for the first time." A murmur of approval rippled through the Sulfurian attendees. Even those who had initially opposed outside interference had come to accept, grudgingly in some cases, that their civilization might have ended without it. Ji-Min gestured, and Ta-Wan approached the altar. 6 months ago, he had stopped halfway rather than completing the traditional approach. Today, he walked the full path without hesitation. "Ta-Wan Park of Earth," Ji-Min said formally, "you were chosen by the celestial alignment for the Sacred Union. Though the ceremony took an unexpected form, its purpose has been fulfilled. Our people will continue." From the altar, she took a small crystal container filled with the same glowing liquid that had been used to paint symbols on Ta-Wan's skin before the interrupted ceremony. This time, Ji-Min herself applied a single mark to his forehead, a spiral pattern that matched one of her own. "With this mark, you are designated clan family to the High Temple lineage, an honor never before given to an off-worlder," Ji-Min announced. "Your genetic knowledge lives in our children, not through direct transfer, but through the science that saved them. This makes you family by our oldest laws." The mark on Ta-Wan's forehead tingled slightly. Unlike the temporary ceremonial markings, this one would become permanent. The glowing liquid contained elements that would bond with his skin cells. "I accept this honor with gratitude," Ta-Wan responded, using the traditional Sulfurian phrase he had practiced for weeks. The ceremony continued with each of the human scientists receiving recognition, though not clan family status. As Earth's original representative, Ta-Wan had been granted a unique position in Sulfurian society. Later, during the celebration feast, Ta-1 found a quiet moment to use his personal communication device. Although direct real-time communication with Earth was impossible across interstellar distances, the Galactic Reddit forum served as the primary information exchange for species across known space. He composed his official report for the diplomatic exchange section. Today I learned that family isn't defined by biology, but by those who stand together against extinction. The stars may have brought us together, but it was understanding that made us kin. The Xalthorian genetic crisis has been addressed not through ancient ritual as originally planned, but through scientific collaboration that honored the spirit of their traditions while embracing new possibilities. As the first human granted clan family status, I now stand between our worlds, not as the genetic donor originally envisioned, but as a bridge between civilizations. He added the official documentation of the scientific breakthrough and sent the report. Within minutes, responses began appearing from across the galaxy. Galactic Tales 287,445 upvotes, 78,932 comments. The top comment came from an unknown species. This is why we joined the galactic community. Together we are stronger than alone. As Ta-1 tucked the device away, he noticed Ji-Min approaching with K-Min beside her. The two sisters, once divided by ideology, now stood together. Your Earth saying has wisdom, Ji-Min said. It takes a village to raise a child. Now our village includes the stars. Ta-1 looked up through the crystal dome at the perfectly aligned twin moons of Xalthoria. What had begun as an unexpected selection had transformed into something none of them could have predicted, a family that transcended species, united by the simple desire for life to continue.